All right, so I have 7 o'clock, and want to welcome all of you who are calling in or dialing up the Facebook page to our conversation with Covenant Baptist Association about Christmas backpacks. Now, our association has four parts of our ministry that we do. We encourage and equip churches and ministers. We do community missions, mostly through our Christian service centers. We also do global missions in many different ways, and then we support all that with what we call mission support. And what we're talking about today is a global missions effort of our association in partnership with the Alabama Baptist Women's Missionary Union and the Alabama Baptist State Convention, plus a number of agencies and mission groups and churches across across the U.S. in terms of the Mississippi River Valley area of the United States, and that is called, it's a Christmas backpack ministry. I even have a backpack as a show and tell here, Christmas backpacks, right? And so we've been working with this project now for a number of years, and this year being 2020. We haven't had as much time or attention to give to Christmas backpacks that we need to. And so I want to go live on Facebook here to talk about the Christmas backpack ministry. I will be recording this discussion, and we'll be posting it on our website, as well as also sending it back out on social media as well. So if you're not getting it tonight, check the Facebook page, check the website, and you'll be able to get more information. So glad tonight to have Pat Ingram with us. Pat is a staff member of the Alabama Women's Missionary Union, and I've known Pat for 10, 12 years now. She's always been a great partner, and I've always enjoyed working with her. And one of the things that she does at the WMU is the Christmas backpack ministry, but she does some other things as well. So I'd like to get Pat, have an opportunity to introduce herself to you, a little bit about her background, what she does at WMU, and then we'll talk about Christmas backpacks. So Pat, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been looking forward to this call. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk especially about Christmas backpacks. I serve as a missions and ministry consultant for Alabama WMU. I work with adult missions discipleship and general church leaders in that area. I also work with women's ministry and then some other ministries across our state, one of which is Christmas backpacks. I'm also the liaison in our office for Christian Women's Job Corps and Christian Men's Job Corps. So I'm really excited about the possibilities for Christian Women's Job Corps there in Covington Association. So I'm looking forward to what the Lord's going to do through y'all there. So I get to do that. I'm a pastor's wife. I'm a mom. I'm a grandmother. My youngest grandbaby, who is, she's about 9 months old. She just started crawling today. So I've been watching her crawl. So we're all in trouble, I think. I think we're in trouble now. I got to make sure I'm childproofed because she can get where she wants now. So anyway, so that's some of the things that I do. So.
Yeah, Pat, let me mention that talking about women, Christian Women's Job Corps. In our association, of course, we have our Christian service centers, which we've been operating for over 30 years, but we're going to try to expand the ministry this year by adding a Christian Women's Job Corps. Shirley Smith and Judy Phillips have gotten training. We had our budget meeting last night with the budget committee and approved moving some money around in the association so that we could support this new ministry. We've got plans for a place to house the Christian Women's Job Corps at the Andalusia Christian Service Center. We're doing some alterations to the building, and it's going to take a while to get that done. So we may have to do something in the interim somewhere else, but that's getting started. So we're excited about that too, and looking forward to that ministry starting. I appreciate Shirley and Judy Phillips being willing to do that. It's a lot of work, and but a lot of benefit, because we've been helping people with food for again, 30 years and other things, but would be nice to be able to help them to be equipped to have jobs as well as, and so that's what we're trying to do there. So, Pat, if you would tell us how the Christmas Backpack Ministry got started, and then also tell us how it got started in terms of our participation in Alabama. Tell us how it all began.
Sure. Well, Bill Barker, who many of us know was a North American Mission Board missionary whose region that he worked with was Appalachia. And back in 2001, he spoke at a church to a GA group in Georgia about the needs in Appalachia and the things that needed to happen. And so he went home, and a couple of weeks later, the GA leader called him and said, Bill, we've made 300 shoeboxes to help the people in West Virginia that you told us about. So he came and picked, and they said, and we need you to come pick them up and bring them where they need to go. So he prayed about it as he was coming to pick them up, and the Lord directed him to a site. Come to find out, when he got there, 2 women leaders in that area had prayed all night long, asking the Lord to provide things that they really needed in that area. And the next thing they knew, the Lord answered their prayer through Bill Barker and those shoeboxes. So that's kind of how it got started, just through a GA group and a GA leader who challenged her group to do some boxes. In 2012, they changed from using boxes to using backpacks, which I love. I do Operation Christmas Child shoe boxes, and it's hard for me to pack everything in that box. So I'm kind of happy that we get to use a backpack. But they changed in 2012 to start using backpacks, and at that time, until 2015, actually, all of the Christmas backpacks that were done for Appalachia, which is a very poverty-stricken area, and it's a widespread area in our United States. In 2015, Bill Barker came to the Alabama Baptist Convention and to Alabama WMU and asked if we would consider providing backpacks for the Mississippi River Delta region. And I didn't realize how bad poverty was in that area too. I'd heard, and I still have heard it compared to a third world country. And my daughter served with the International Mission Board in a third world country. And I was like, no, it can't be. But the more I learned about it, there aren't services, and even when there are services, sometimes the people can't get to those services. It's rural. It's, they don't, anyway, it's just a hard area, a lot of generational poverty. So we, came to the decision that it would be a partnership. Christmas Backpacks for the Mississippi River Delta would be a partnership between Alabama WMU and the Alabama Baptist State Board of Missions. So I'm kind of the point person, but we all work together to make this happen. And we've actually never looked back. I think we got about 3,000 or so backpacks that first year. And then last year we got 12,334 across Alabama. The good thing about that, and you'll have to stop me, Otis, or I can talk forever. The good thing about this is that every Christmas backpack, one of the ministries and the church plants and churches put in an application asking for Christmas backpacks. They tell us how many they want. One of the things that they agree to is that the plan of salvation is shared. When the backpacks are given out, the plan of salvation is shared. Also, every backpack has the Christmas story in it, which is the biblical story of Jesus being born. And most of them have Bibles in them. So I love the fact that 12,334 children and their parents and their families got to hear about Jesus because of churches in Alabama, churches and individuals in Alabama who collected backpacks. We do partnerships. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, we some churches and associations partner with a specific site, but then we have, actually this year we'll have 13 collection points, and actually your ministry center, your Christian ministry center is one of the collection points, has been one, and it will be one again this year, where churches and individuals can bring those, and then we get those to the ministry sites. But then we have some that partner with a specific site and are able to go and help give the backpacks out, which we're not real sure how that's going to look this year, but the Lord's got it figured out, so we're good. So some churches in Alabama and associations partner with Appalachia, because they have for a long time. For instance, the association that we're a part of, we have a partnership with a church plant in Maryland. And so our association will provide backpacks for the second year for Maryland, for that church, for the Bruce Outreach Center in Westernport, Maryland. So actually, Alabama's backpacks not only cover the Mississippi River Delta, and we're the primary state that covers the Mississippi River Delta, but we also are still involved in Appalachia too. So our backpacks are making a lot of difference around the United States.
It's an amazing thing to think about, because when we talk about the Mississippi River Delta, in all these states, all those states may not participate, but it could start in New Orleans and go all the way up to Illinois. I mean, it is a huge area. And then when you think about Appalachia, it actually starts in North Alabama-ish, North Georgia, certainly, and goes all the way to upstate New York. I mean, it's a huge region of the country as well there. So many people, a lot of the country, almost half the country could be affected in some way by this ministry. When you think about that, that is just a tremendous reach for something as simple as backpacks, which we can get these anywhere and pack them. So Pat, how do you actually pack a backpack? What do you put in it? What do you have? Are there different age groups? What do you do with backpacks? How do you fix these things up?
Yes, we have 5 different ages, and so we have, well, and these are what the ages are: age 2 to 3, 4 to 7, 8 to 10, 11 through 14, and 15 through 17. And then so we do, for all 5 of those age groups, we do boys and girls. So so to fill a backpack, you choose which of those ages and which gender you want to do. The churches or individuals can order. We do bands on our backpacks. We used to do ribbons, but I'm telling you, those ribbons would come off. Plus, I found out that there are lots of different shades of pink and blue and purple and yellow. And so now, through our Myers-Mallory State Missions offering, we're able to purchase these bands, and churches can order them for free. So you order your bands, and the Christmas story from Alabama WMU in this, on our website, and then the Global Missions Office, one of the women who works there, sends those out. So you'll have that. I like having a Bible in each backpack. If we can do that, I think that's really important. So whether it's a child's Bible or just any Bible, or even a New Testament, depending on what you want to put in there. And then what you want to do is you just want to think about that child. Some of the things that we put in there are school supplies, because even though some of the kids have probably gotten school supplies at the start of the year, the ones who don't have the funds to provide them themselves, probably by January, they're running out of things. So school supplies that are of the appropriate age are always great. Food items. A lot of these kids, once school is out for those 2 or 3 weeks when they're out at Christmas, they don't really have meals for lots of reasons. But for whatever the reason, they don't have meals. And so they love things like SpaghettiOs, things with Pop Tops are great. I think candy, any kind, probably not chocolate, just because it can get smashed easier, and nothing peanut butter or peanuts, but just snack crackers, all kinds of things, little fruit. So school supplies and food. And then you want to put some kind of a Christmas gift type thing. And it would just depend on the age, because a lot of these kids, this is all they're getting for Christmas. This is what they're getting for Christmas. So depending on what age they are, you can look for different things. Kids love footballs and basketballs and soccer balls, and I usually deflate mine, and then you can get little pumps even at the Dollar Tree for $1, where they can pump them back up, because I like to fill my backpacks up pretty well. You can put hygiene items in there, coloring books, crayons, markers, just the things that you would think, kind of the same way that we do. I've always done Christmas shoeboxes, Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes with our children, and we would go shopping and we would do a shoebox for the age that they were, and we would talk about, they might not have internet, so they don't need this kind of game, but maybe they could use this kind of game, or we would make sure we put batteries in there. It was a real good learning experience. Things like flashlights, coats even. I know one child I heard about was so excited about getting a coat in his backpack because he'd been cold and mom and daddy didn't have any way to get him a coat. So just thinking about those kind of things, soap, a toothbrush, toothpaste, those kind of things. So whatever it is that the Lord leads you to put in that backpack, that's what you need to put in there.
You know, Pat, one thing that I did a few years ago when we first started this in our association, we didn't have a lot of time to get churches involved, and a lot of churches didn't know. So the association packed about 100 backpacks, and I discovered that year there were plenty of for some reason there were a lot of leftover VBS Bibles that Lifeway had. And we got them, and those are all inexpensive anyway because they're for VBS. 2020 being what it was, there could well be a lot of VBS Bibles left not at the Lifeway Christian store because those are closed, but you might be able to get that through Lifeway itself. But there's a lot of people's imaginations run wild when it comes to these things. They find all kinds of ways to do cool stuff, and they'll find solutions. And and I know churches share where they can find an inexpensive but good quality backpack and those kind of things. So let me see if I can share my screen here for just a minute, if I can. And I don't know if it's going to let me do it.
Well, while you're doing that, Otis, let me tell you, one of the things that we did this year, because I was a little concerned about our folks being able to go out shopping for their backpacks. You know, it's easy to get the things to go in it sometimes, even when I do my Walmart order. But we purchased backpacks through Bags in Bulk. It's a website, and they were about $3.50, and they're nice backpacks, and they got here within about 4 or 5 days. But you have to buy them in lots of 24. So if your church is doing 24 for about probably less than $4, depending on, the more you order, the cheaper it is. But you could order 24 of them for probably about $4 a piece. And these are nice backpacks. That's this one that I have right here that we're using this year. So that's just something to think about if that would help, because I think you still have time. You're muted.
Myself. All right. So, because my keyboard was messing with so this is the Alabama WMU website, and there is a page called Christmas Backpacks. So alabamawmu.org/Christmas Backpacks, and you see the information about Collection Week. We'll talk about that in a moment, and the record that Alabama Baptist did in the last year. Goal this year's 12,000 backpacks. And again, all kinds of information, the flyer, all kinds of information. And then there's a couple of videos here as well. And guess what? There's Pat in the video. Yay, Pat.
Those are last
year's. That is available to you. Yes, ma'am?
I said those are last year's videos, but they're still good information. Good information.
Because last year was the first year you did the bands from the wristband kind of thing instead of the so it's the same information this year. Nothing's changed.
That's right.
And those wristbands are like the things you put on your arm at the hospital or at the pool, and they don't come off like the ribbons do. So. All right, let me come back here. But anyway, that is that's on the Alabama WMU website page, web page, and it's easy to find. You can probably just search for Christmas backpacks, and it'll probably come up. So, tell me, Pat, about some of the stories that you've heard of how these backpacks have affected the lives of children and then their families as well.
We get reports. Bill Barker, especially, he's retired now and pastoring actually a small church. But especially back when he was the contact person, he would get notes from children and from their families. And some of the ones that I remember most, one was a single mom who sent him a note and said, I really didn't know what I was going to do. I just was not going to be able to do anything for my child this year. So thank you so much for providing this. And so in some circumstances, it's just impossible. There was a little boy who got a Bible in his backpack. He sent Bill a note that said, none of my other friends got a Bible in their backpack. So now we're meeting at recess and we're reading the Bible together. He was sharing the Bible with the other boys and girls.
Wow, that's wonderful.
They tell stories about, they talk about the food a lot. The little hot dogs is Vienna sausages. Several of them talk about how great the little hot dogs are. They love Pop-Tarts. You know, they're just excited about the things that they get in them. I've been a part of a distribution for several years now, but last year, literally, there were people that came from quite a ways away because they were interested in getting this for their children. And they literally stood in line and waited, and just seeing those children, watching them look in the backpacks, taking the stuffed animals out and hugging those stuffed animals was just, it was just amazing to see how much they appreciated. One of the things that I've been surprised about is how happy children are to get toothbrushes and toothpaste. You wouldn't necessarily think a child would be excited about that, but these kids are just so happy to have somebody that that cares enough about them. And I think they recognize that we are sharing the love of Jesus with them, and that's real important to them. Makes a difference.
You know, Pat, you're talking about Bill Barker on the WMU website. Bill has a tremendous, that video of Bill talking about the impact of the, you do well speaking about that. I'm not saying that you don't, but Bill just has a way of describing the way these children have been impacted and affected by these Christmas backpacks. It'll just rip your heart out. And of course, Bill, that's Bill's gift anyway. I think he's got the gift of appealing to your heart. So, but yeah, it's a tremendous ministry that, and look, like I always joke about it is, you know, how great is it? It's a ministry where women can go shop, right? So I know that's sexist. I'm sorry.
Well, hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's good stuff. So church decides how many backpacks they want to build, and they get the material from the State Board of Missions and the Alabama WMU. They stuff everything in the backpack. They put the appropriate age and gender wristband on the backpack, and then they bring it someplace for collection. So talk about collection week. How does that go?
Well, we set collection week October the 24th through the 30th this year, trying to stay away from Halloween, so it starts on a Saturday and ends on a Friday. And each of our sites around the state, including your ministry center, your Christian Service Center, set some hours where people can drop off the backpacks. And so usually what happens is somebody from a church or sometimes from other associations. Well, we don't tell people which collection site they have to go to. So, you know, if somebody from Huntsville is heading down to the beach and decides they want to stop at the at your ministry center and drop their backpacks off, that's okay. And so we publish that on our website, and they come wherever they are. And then after that's over, we have a gentleman that comes and picks them up. Or sometimes we have directors of missions that deliver them to the Disaster Relief Center in Prattville, not to mention any names, Otis, but he's done that before. So we gather them all up, and then we take them to two different places, one place in Louisiana and one place in Memphis. And then all the ministries that are not partnered will come to those two places and pick up their backpacks. So that's how it works.
Yeah, it's an impressive thing to go to the Disaster Relief Center up in Prattville and see a whole bay full of, backpacks, but usually they're packed up in some manner. But it's really impressive. And of course, when you get in 12,000, that's quite a logistical feat too, when you think about it, because 12,000 moving 12,000 of anything can be pretty busy. So Um,
Well,
Now, Pat,
last
we really want folks. Go ahead.
I was going to say last year, about 6,000 were partnered and about 6,000 came to the collection points, to our collection site. So that helps. This year, not as many partnerships. So, but I still feel like we're going to, and I say this in all honesty, I don't know if we'll get 12,000 this year because it's 2020, but I believe that we're going to get enough to meet the needs. And that's what we need to do. That's what I believe that the Lord's going to provide through his churches and through his people to meet the needs that we have. So,
And it is 2020 and it's a weird year. But if of all the ministries that we could not do in 2020, this is one we can. This is one that we can do. We can go and buy the backpacks and stuff them and get them to the collection centers. Nobody gets really exposed to anything, and then of course we can partner with folks and get it out in people's hands. And maybe this year, with all the deprivation and all the trouble with the COVID-19, this may be the year that such a backpack gift makes a huge impact on somebody's life, and that would help them find the gospel and find Jesus. So it's a great opportunity to continue to minister in this year in a way that we haven't been able to do with other things. So many different ministries have been delayed, canceled, put on hold this year, but this is one that we can do. And so I want to encourage folks to do that as well. So I know, Pat, you've got another call after this that you're going to participate in. What about other ministries of the Alabama Women's Missionary Union that you would like to talk about tonight, while you've got the opportunity to share about the Great Commission conversations you're having, or some of the other things that y'all are doing in the Alabama WMU?
thank you. Yes, we're what I'll be doing at 8 o'clock tonight is what we call Great Commission conversations, and we did them once a week, every Tuesday for several months, and now we're doing them every other Tuesday. But we've had the opportunity. So many of our personnel have been home that normally are overseas and are way different time zones and may not have good internet, but they're here. They've been here in Alabama and here in the United States because of COVID. So because of that, we've been able to set up times where they can talk about what they're doing, what the Lord is doing, where they serve, and ways that we can pray for them and be involved in their ministry. And so we do one at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we repeat that one at 8 o'clock at night. And so that's what we're doing today. You can sign up for those. You can watch our Facebook page or go to our website and sign up for those, and we'll send you a link that will allow you to be a part of that. Something else that we're doing right now that I'm pretty excited about, we normally do an International Friends Retreat where the universities, the Baptist Campus Ministries, international students come to World Song. We do that in partnership with the collegiate office, and they come to World Song, and there's a retreat where international students and then American students are there together, and they get to know each other. We have had international students who come from countries that we can't even be in that have come to know Christ. And we had one young woman who told us, this is the first time that I've laughed since I came here, because they're just in a different place and they're willing. So this year we weren't able to do that. So what we're doing is we normally have about 150 kids there, and we make them bags, International Friends Retreat bags that have got things like shampoo and different things. You know, we have a list of things that they make. Well, this year, because we couldn't have that, we're partnering with the BCM. So if there's a college or a university that you wanted to partner with, you could call that BCM leader and provide those bags. And they are actually being able to reach lots of international students that they normally wouldn't, and who might not even be able to come to the retreat with these bags. So if you're interested in that, there's information about that on our website. Another thing that we're going to start hoping to roll out October 1st is called Beautiful Feet Connections. We've prayed for missionaries for a long time. And so what we're doing with this is families that have a connection with Alabama. Some of them are individuals, and some of them are couples, some of them are families, but we're going to have pictures of their feet and information about those, the missionaries that we've been able to be in contact with. And some of them are sending us back their information so that churches and groups can partner with them to pray. can partner with them to pray and probably get prayer requests from them regularly. And I think the Lord is, we've seen through our praying for Pakistan how the Lord works through that. So there are lots of interesting things going on, lots of neat things going on, even through all of this time that we're living in.
And let me mention as well with our association. Of course, we've had a partnership with Mexico City for the last 3 years, and that got derailed this year, of course, in terms of going to Mexico City. It got derailed by COVID. We've kept up our communication with them, and there's some things that we've done long distance with them. But we are hoping and praying that something that we're doing in January of 2021 will re-energize and kickstart our missions efforts again. So in January 23, 24, and 25, which is a Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which is really Saturday and Sunday for church members, the 23rd and the 24th, we're having a World Mission Celebration, a missions conference in our association. We're going to have bring in our missionaries on Saturday and have a banquet for them with their drivers and the pastors of churches. And then on Sunday morning, we'll have every church that would like to participate. We'll have a missionary to speak. Then they'll take that missionary to lunch. And then if COVID-19 allows, we're prayerfully going to have a missions conference, or a missions rally, not rally, missions fair. That's it. A missions fair at a church on Sunday afternoon after lunch, and then we'll swap missionaries. Churches will get a different missionary for Sunday night, and then on Monday we're going to have a brunch and fellowship for our missionaries to love on them some. But so we're hoping to kickstart our missions efforts with that missions conference in January of 2021 as well. So. But Pat, is anything else you want to share? We want you to be able to take a breath before your next call. I know what it's like to go from one call to another. I've had like 3 or 4 in the same day this COVID-19 season, but we'll let you. But is there anything else you want to share about either WMU or Christmas Backpacks? Anything you want to share before we close out this evening?
Well, I would like to thank you as the Director of Missions and the churches and in your association. Y'all have been a great supporter of Christmas Backpacks and of Alabama WMU and our ministry. So I appreciate that. I am thankful for y'all and for the way that you allow yourselves to be used by God. And so I appreciate that. And I really do. And if there's ever any way that I can help any of y'all, don't hesitate to call me. Otis has got my number.
And Pat, you know, I'm not ashamed to call. I call you all the time about things. Sometimes sometimes there's not an answer, and sometimes there is an answer. But I'm not shy. I'll call, and you've always been very helpful, and I've appreciated your partnership, both when I was working at the State Board of Missions, and of course as a associational missionary here as well. With because you represent the WMU very well, and not just the WMU but the Kingdom of God. So we thank you. And Pat, if you would you close us with a word of prayer? Pray for the backpacks and for the ministry, and just close us out with a word of prayer. Would you do that for us this evening?
I would. Thank you. Thank you. Let's pray.
Thank you.
Father, I just thank you, Lord, for this opportunity that we've had to talk about this ministry, Lord, that you use so well here in the Mississippi River Delta and in Appalachia, Lord. I thank you for the participation. I thank you for the 12,334 backpacks from last year, Lord. And I thank you for all that will be given this year, Lord. I pray that you would just give us wisdom and guidance, Lord, as we work this ministry in a year that's so different, Lord. So I pray for the ministry sites and the churches and for the partners, Lord. I pray for the collection points this year as the volunteers are so faithful to man those sites. Lord, I thank you so much for the privilege that it is to be a part of this. Lord, I thank you for Covington Association and for all that you're doing there. I thank you for Christian Women's Job Corps, Lord. I thank you for their ministry center, Lord, and all the ministry that they do there and the lives that are touched, Lord. And I just pray that our lives would bring you glory and honor, Lord, and that you would just give us all a knowledge of how you would have us to live, Lord, and that you would help us as we participate in these amazing things. Lord, I thank you for the privilege of being a part of your work. For I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.